Next up, at UFC Vegas 105, we have the featured fight of the evening. We have Cortavious Romious taking on Chang Ho Lee. Cortavious Romious, 9-3 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off the decision loss in his UFC debut. He's taking on Chang Ho Lee, 10-1 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He is on that 4-fight win streak. Cortavious is a solid grappler. He's got decent striking, good power, heavy kicks. He doesn't really throw a ton of combinations, but he will throw hard. He'll move forward. His takedowns are solid. He does a really good job shooting and then re-shooting. When he hits the ground, he's going to land some strikes and then look for an actual submission instead of just hanging out for control. He's coming off a decision loss to Gaston Bolanos in his UFC debut where he got 4 takedowns, but he was outstruck. He's taking on Chang Ho Lee, well-rounded guy who prefers to move forward and strike. He will close the distance by literally just marching forward and throwing 1-2s. He's going to feint a lot, which can get people out of sorts, but he likes to come up heavy with overhands or even work in a takedown or two. His takedowns are not great, and neither is his takedown defense, but his submission defense is pretty good, and he's got a good enough get-up game. He also thinks pretty highly of himself, going on this tangent about how he's going to be the Korean Khabib. I'm picking Cortavious here. I don't think Chang's that good. I think he's a little overrated. That whole Korean Khabib thing is nonsense. Remember Anshul Jubilee said all that same stuff just a few months ago. I think we've seen from Cortavious that he can be a good pressure guy. He can get the takedowns going. He'll shoot. He'll reshoot. He hasn't quite proven anything just yet, but at plus 150, and the fact that he's a solid underdog that can grind against somebody who I think is overrated, I think Cortavious gets it done. What do you think, Jake? Yep, boy.
I honestly think, and I put it on Twitter, that this is some of the best matchmaking possibly of the year. I think this is a top 15 matchmaking situation of the year because both these guys kind of want to do the same thing. A little bit sloppy with the striking, but they want to get to the takedowns. They want to get to the control. And once they get there, they're kind of both finishers in that type of position. Cortavious, a little bit too sloppy in his last matchup. What was it, 30-27s across the board with a 30-26 mixed in. Honestly, that fight felt a little bit closer than what the scorecards say. He had his moments in that fight, and he never stopped working. I mean, he never fucking stopped working to try and get himself back in the fight. Chang Ho Lee is a former lock of the week. He won that fight versus, Zhang Lao or whatever. Close fight. A lot of people didn't think that he won that fight, but it was his tenacity, the big knees that he kept landing in the clinch. Both these guys kind of wanted to do the same thing. I like Chang Ho Lee to be a little bit cleaner in those matchups. The only thing I hate about Cortavious, that got him in trouble a couple times in his last fight, is he does love that triangle choke. He loves the arm bar. And if you're not getting it, a lot of times you just kind of end up on your back. And last time, he got lucky because against Gaston, he was against a kickboxer, right, who kind of just got out of that position, was still out grappling a little bit at times, but really wanted to strike. If you're trying to throw up that shit against Chang Ho Lee and he ends up on top of you, he gets on your back, you're probably going to stay there. So I think this is going to be a fun matchup, a back and forth. The scrambles should be wild. Both these guys are absolutely dogs. If Cortavious is able to pull this out, I'm not going to be crazy surprised. But I just think Chang Ho Lee is a little bit more refined at this point in his career. They kind of want to do the same thing, and I think Chang Ho Lee does it just a little bit better. But I think this is going to be a really fun fight and could be the fight of the night. And I think Chang Ho Lee kind of pulls this shit out. I do have a little bit of a, not a flyer bet on this one. I'll give a free bet here. I put, I think it's plus 400, either fighter to win by submission, because I think either one of these guys could get caught in something. Not real likely, plus 400. You can play both sides with it. That's what I played for this fight, but Chang Ho Lee's going to be my pick.
I get it. I mean, I get it. He wants to wrestle. He's calling himself the Korean Khabib. He'll move forward. He's got the cleaner record of the two, but I don't know. There's just something about the dog in Cortavious, and I think Chang's
dogs.
just,
I mean, if you didn't see a dog in Chang Ho Lee in his last fight, then I don't know what the fuck. Maybe you are a little bit anti-Asian. I don't know.
No, it's everything, right? Everything.
This must have been a tough call for you, this one.
And then for that reason, I think they both lose. No. I mean, I think Cortavious is just going to be a little bit better. I think the shooting, reshooting is what I love. Takes a shot, doesn't get it, bang, right behind it's another shot. Grinding, moving, making stuff happen. $7,800 in DraftKings Fantasy. I think he will work for that money, and I think he could potentially be worth that money. Chang Ho Lee, same thing. If he gets the wrestling going, if he lives up to the Korean Khabib moniker, $8,400 could be worth that as well.
Explain what you think moniker means.
I mean, context clues will get that done. It's pretty straightforward. The optimizer will tell you what it thinks is going to happen. The fight simulator will tell you what it thinks will happen. And the artificial intelligence will tell you what it thinks will happen as well. You can check out all of those tools. You can check out the picks, the bets, and everything else at wewantpicks.com.